Hey y'all, so apologies for the lack of BookTubeAthon updates over the past few days. Like I said, I have been traveling. Obviously, I am in a different location today. I'm here at my parents' house, and I decided that since I didn't do updates for the past few days, instead of doing mini reviews for the books that I've finished since then, I'm just going to do a broad overview of the books that I read in the BookTubeAthon, show you the challenges that I completed, all that stuff, and save the reviews for the last few books for my August wrap-up. Also, apologies for what is probably terrible lighting. I promise you this is as good as it gets in this room. So challenge number one of the BookTubeAthon was to read a book with blue on the cover, and for this I read The Night We Said Yes by Lauren Gibaldi. It was my first read of the week, and I gave it 9 stars out of 10. And this is one of the books that I did a mini review for, so I will leave a link to that video down in the description. So challenge number 2 was to read a book by an author who shares the first letter of your last name, and since my last name starts with a B, I read Lexicon by Max Berry. And once again, I do have a mini review on this book, so I will link that down in the description, but I gave Lexicon 8.5 stars out of 10. Challenge number 3 was to read someone else's favorite book. And originally for this challenge, I was going to read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor because it is Kat from Katie Tastic's favorite book, and I even started it on one of my flights home, but I kind of ran out of time by the end of the BookTubeAthon, so I instead decided to pick up Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is Ariel from Ariel Bassett's favorite book. And since I did read this just today, I haven't settled on a rating yet, but I do think this is one of those books that I can thoroughly appreciate, but I didn't quite enjoy it quite as much. Like, I would give the book 5 out of 5 stars as far as like how well written it was and how well it conveyed its message. But my reading enjoyment of it was more like a 3 out of 5, so for now I'm gonna go with like 4 out of 5 or like 8 out of 10, since that's just right on the 4 out of 5, but yeah. Haven't solidified a rating on this one yet. Challenge number 4 was to read the last book that you acquired, and for this one I read I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Once again, this is one that I did a mini review for, so I will link that down in the description, but I gave I'll Give You the Sun 10 out of 10 stars, easily my favorite book that I read all week. So challenge number 5 was to finish a book without letting go of it, and for this one I chose We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and I actually think I ended up doing this with another book that I read this week, but I didn't really pay that close attention to it because I'd already completed the challenge. So I did this challenge for at least one book, possibly 2 that I read this week. And once again, I did do a mini review for We Were Liars, so I will link that down in the description, but I gave it 7.5 stars out of 10. So challenge number 6 was to read a book that you really wanted to read, and for this one I was going to use A Darker Shade of Magic, but I actually ended up being a little bit more excited to read Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So this is the one that I counted for that challenge. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do a mini review of this since I did just finish it yesterday, but I gave it 9 out of 10 stars. I really enjoyed this one. So challenge number 7 was to read 7 books throughout the week, and obviously I have just shown you 6, and so I had to pick up one last book, and I actually just finished it about half an hour ago, and that is Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. I definitely wasn't planning on reading this throughout the BookTubeAthon, but since I was running low on time, I needed to pick up a small book, and I had this one sitting in my room, and like I've said many times over the past week, I've been kind of in a contemporary mood, and I'm not sure I've ever mentioned this, but I really like this movie, and so I figured it's 183 pages, and I really like the movie, so I might as well go ahead and read the book. And once again, since I did just finish this, I haven't settled on a rating yet, but I did give it 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I think it's gonna stay 4 out of 5. I might bump it down to 3 out of 5. Not 100% sure, but I'd put it somewhere in the like 8 out of 10 range, 7 out of 10 range, somewhere around there. So I basically won the BookTubeAthon. I mean, I guess you could argue that there's actually no way to win the BookTubeAthon, or like that you win the BookTubeAthon by participating, but you know what? I finished all 7 challenges and I was very skeptical about whether or not I'd be able to do that, so I'm just going to revel in this moment right now. I am kind of bummed that I had to switch out 2 books for some slightly shorter books, but I did give myself a couple of kind of lengthy books to read for a readathon. So I'm still going to get to those really soon. I mean, I've already started Daughter of Smoke and Bone, so I'm probably going to continue that next. So I will still get to those books pretty soon. I just didn't get to them in the BookTubeAthon. So that is it for my little BookTubeAthon wrap-up video. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!